So this demo is for staining your sculptures. So step one is to sand your surface. So you might notice that you have a lot of really sharp, jagged parts on your surface. So we really want to make sure we sand it all down. When you're sanding, you want to use the rougher sandpaper, so 100 or 220. And when you're sanding, you either want to do it outside or over a garbage can. You do not want to sand at the tables because all of that residue can mix in with other students' projects, the glazes, underglaze, clay, and it would just be not so good. So sandpaper, sand, over the garbage can or outside. So after you've sanded your sculpture down, making sure there's no rough or jagged edges, you're gonna pick out what stain to use. So we have a whole assortment of test tiles that show you our different stains. So the stains we have are a mixture of water with one or two other chemicals. So depending on the chemical used, you can get a different color. With the test tiles, each one is the same color, but you might notice with some of them, okay, it looks a little bit different on one half versus the other. And the reason for that is some of the stains look different with a clear glaze on top and different with no clear glaze. Okay, so just decide which color you like, whether it's the clear or the no clear. And on the back, right, you will see written out the number or sometimes the actual chemical of the stain you want. Okay, so this green is number 13. So here I have a jar that's labeled with the 13. Okay, this one is cobalt and rutile. Okay, and that's one of the newer batches, so it's just labeled cobalt and rutile with no number on it. Okay, so you'll kind of pick which one you want. Don't worry about the clear glaze yet, just worry about which color you want to use. So when you pick out your color, okay, you want to make sure that the lid is on tight, and then you'll give it a good shake. Okay, overall the stains should be pretty good shape. They are more watery. So it isn't like our underglazes or high fire glazes where they are pretty thick. Okay, they are on the thinner side. And that is because it's just a stain. It's just staining your clay surface, and then you'll be wiping some away. Okay? So I'm gonna use the rutile and cobalt mixture. Okay, and with my brush, I'm just going to paint it on. And I'm just doing one layer, okay? No need to do multiple layers. These go pretty far as the colorant, because it is just water and the one or two chemicals. Okay? So I'm just going to kind of paint in there. And you're only doing one color for your project. If you're not doing multiples, you're just doing the one. Okay? Just gonna make sure I get into all the nooks and crannies, especially where I have that texture kind of carved in. Okay? So you'll kind of paint the whole thing. Do not paint the bottom. I do not paint the bottom. Okay, we're just doing the outside surface and any negative space you have. From there, you're going to take your sponge, squeeze out most of the water, and then you're going to wipe away. And this is why it's important that you sanded your piece beforehand, because any jagged areas or surfaces are going to ruin the sponges, and we do not want that. Okay. So the goal is to try to clean off as much of the stain from your non-raised areas. So that general surface that you had, okay, you want to try to get that as clean as possible. And then your stain is going to stay where you had that negative carving put in. Okay. Just gonna go in, wipe, wipe, wipe. And it's okay if you don't get everything. That's part of the beauty of it, because that extra colorant, okay, where it's a little bit thinner, is going to look a little bit different than where it's thicker inside your negative space areas. So you can see in the test tiles, so this is the one that I'm doing, okay, where I kind of had that carved texture in, I have that blue, okay, where I wiped away. You can still see a little bit of blue, okay, but not a ton. You see more of the clay surface. I'm gonna go in, wipe, 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 as best as you can. Okay, so you want to do this over your whole piece. And that is how you're going to be staining your project. Okay. When you are all done, don't worry about the clear or no clear. We'll work with that next class. For now, your goal is just to get the stain on your sculpture itself. When you're all done, make sure the brush gets washed well and put back, and that the jars with the stains get closed properly so it doesn't evaporate out. So then when you're all done, your project can go back on your shelf until next time when we either turn it in or do the clear and then turn it in.